get through all the construction for the roof we're putting up. First of all, there's 7 candidates that are right behind me who are running for city commission. We'll be hearing from them tonight as they go along. I want to welcome some other people who are here tonight. Mayor Kevin Cannon.
What? Who?
I'm sorry. Kevin McCann. I'm sorry. Mayor Kevin McCann. Off to a bad start. And with a candidate for city manager, Calvin Smith, and his wife. So just welcome them. David Smith, our assemblyman, back there. Let's take our welcome now. We're going to start clapping. We can do clapping right now. Are there any other commissioners here? Is Kay or Victoria here tonight? Okay. Victoria. Welcome. Nice to have you here. We have the legal winner of women voters here with us tonight. I'll let them stand. They're filming this event for us, and so it'll be on our website. And it's live streamed right now, so we're happy to have them. We have the Oviedo Community News with us, and so we right over here. This event, Meet the Candidate, is sponsored by the Tuscaloosa Homeowners Association. This association goes back to 1977 when the area was first being developed. It's an umbrella organization over all the developments that became part of the greater Tuscaloosa. And these 4 people that started it, I started it with the following purpose. So it's good for us to remember sometimes the purposes of a particular organization. Purpose is to encourage, create, and maintain community spirit, and interest and promote civic affairs and improvements for residents and property owners. So we appreciate their work, and through the years, many of you here tonight have been members of that board and have worked to make this a wonderful place to live. If for some reason you have forgotten this year to pay your $40 volunteer dues, that money makes events like this possible. Our Family Fun Day, the Tuscaloosa magazine that comes out. And so Cindy Giles is back there at a table, and you're welcome to stop by, and she has envelopes, she'll help you out, and it's a good thing, and we need your support to keep this organization going. Okay, I have some rules now, and we all have to live by rules in society. I want you to silence your cell phones. No applause now until the very end of the meeting, otherwise it will take us a long time. Please, no interruptions from the audience. If we have some interruptions, we might have to make you go and sit in the corner somewhere. At this particular time, I was going to introduce to you our moderator for the evening, Greg Smith. He let me know yesterday he's got COVID. So we've had to go to Plan B. And we had to find somebody that could be able to moderate this meeting, who's a nice person, with a good spirit, and is well-liked by the community. And so we found such a person, and in just a few moments that person will come up and lead the rest of the meeting. So let's get started, right? Tonight we have 7 candidates for the City of River Springs for Commission. There are 3 seats that are available this coming November. District 1 District 3, and District 5. Each candidate has to live in their own particular district, but they do represent the whole city. And you, as residents of Tuscaloosa and River Springs, also vote for all the candidates, and they represent you also in the city. According to the city charter, River Springs is a non-partisan, so a party affiliation we do not have. These people aren't Democrats, Republicans, or anything else. They're citizens who have given their time and their energy to want to serve our community and be a candidate for this position. It's not easy to do, and I applaud them all, and a chance tonight, we're going to get a chance to meet them. For District 1, there's Commissioner Matt Benton and Paul Diaz. For District 3, there's Karen Meyer and Sarah Baker. For District 5, there's Rob Elliott, Mark Russo, and Brandon Morrison. The order of presentation was established by drawing names out of a hat. Each candidate will be asked to give a 2-minute introduction, followed by 2 questions. They will have 2 minutes to answer each question. Each candidate has been given these questions in advance. A 3-minute closing statement will be provided by each candidate at the end of the evening in reverse order from the original appearance. There is to be no coaching from the audience. We have 2 official timekeepers. They will hold up a card and let you know when 30 seconds are left of your 2 minutes. They'll hold up another card with 10-second warning. And if you go past the allotted time, they're going to start ringing the bell. And if it goes too far, we'll cut the microphone. You have a choice. You can come up here and speak and use the podium that goes this way, or you can stand out and set up there, or you can just take the mic off of here. It's completely up to you. Starting with District 1. All the best. It's a 2-minute introduction to yourself. Don't start timing yet. We need a light up here. We'll do our best. Right?
All right, lucky me, I get to start the evening out. So, good evening, everybody. First and foremost, let me thank the Tuscaloosa Homeowners Association for putting this together. This is an absolutely fabulous event. I'm very honored to be here and very honored that you have me here. My name is Paul Diaz, and as the introduction said, I am running for Commissioner in District 1. District 1 is Southwest Winter Springs. However, everybody here can vote for every district. So tonight, what I'd like to do is a couple things. Number one, Let me start by telling you a little about me, professionally, personally, and what some of my ideas are. And then from there, what I'd like to be able to do is encourage you to come after and visit with me at the table, ask me some questions that you might have. And of course, if you'd like, I'm an open book. I'd be more than happy to meet with you anytime between now and, obviously election day. I'm a tax accountant. So before you figure that it's going to get really boring because the accountant got up here, yes, it will. My role is a very technical role, meaning I fight the IRS and I win. That's what I do. So my role typically starts when someone has a very serious problem. They receive a notice from the Internal Revenue Service and they call me. My background is in finance. My undergraduate degree is in finance. My MBA is in accounting. So I have to go through very technical work and break down things that sometimes are not necessarily apparent to a lot of folks that are going through financials specifically. And that is actually one of the reasons why I decided to run. Early on, I'll tell you, when I was asked, in fact, in this very room, when I was asked if I would want to run, I said, absolutely not. And then I said, well, we'll talk after tax season. And after tax season came and went, and many of you I met at the 4th of July event here at Central Woods Park. But I'm the president-elect of the Rotary Club. I'm campaign treasurer for the sheriff, Dennis Lima. I'm active in the Winter Springs Citizens Advisory Committee. And as you may have well seen online recently, I was also appointed to the board of directors of Running for Heroes, and I'm in Leadership Seminole 34. And I look forward to speaking with you tonight.
Well, the first question we have to ask you is, and you kind of answered this a little bit, why are you running for city commission?
I've had the privilege in our community to serve in multiple leadership roles and have the opportunity to meet with many of you along the way. One of the reasons I'm running for the city commission, and I kind of touched on that a little bit, are the financial issues that the city is going through. We've got three main issues that the city has as far as pressing issues that need to be taken care of. There's the wastewater, and don't confuse that with issue number 2, which is the stormwater. We have homes that are literally flooded. They are underwater in many cases. The water's not flowing correctly. The city's now taking care of it, and they've taken a Flex Seal approach to dealing with issues. And when I mean with Flex Seal, if you've seen the commercial, you slap the Flex Seal on the side of the tank and you say, oh, that's it, we're good to go. Same thing with wastewater. And we have issues that need to be resolved. However, when anybody in this city tells you, because this is the line that has been going around, that it's not about the money, it's about the money. You have to find ways to fund these projects. And the way you find the way that you fund these projects requires a certain set of skills of understanding federal monies, state monies, county monies, and how the city can rework a budget in a way that can get you to the dollars necessary to deal with the stormwater, deal with the wastewater. I always tell everybody, if we solve the financial house, if we put our financial house in order, everything else will fall into place, because then we can actually tackle the problems that many residents have been yelling and screaming and crying about for years that have not been taken care of. I have a unique set of skills, which is that I'm going to be able to be on the dais and ask the right questions and require the respondent to give us the right answers, and if not, be able to follow up. One of the things I've noticed every time I watch a city commission meeting is a question will come up and it's a very basic level question, and then there are the follow-up questions. You can't peel the onion down to get to the root of the problem, and that's why I'm running.
Don't be rude for other candidates tonight. And Paul, second question is, what changes, and you've started this already, would you like to make for the city of Winter Springs?
Well, the changes are not simple. Okay, anybody who tells you that any problem can be solved just simply, it would have already been solved. For the last 4 years, for the last 8 years, we've had this conversation. The problems have not been solved. 4 years later, we're being asked to do more of the same again in an effort, kind of like insanity, right? You know, do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. The different result is going to come from having different people with different ideas and a new way of looking at things. For example, I suggest, I'm biased because when you see everybody here, I'm the only one with a very strong financial background. So I'm going to be biased towards saying, hey, you got to elect somebody in District 1, you got to elect somebody in District 3, and you got to elect somebody in District 5. But from all 3 districts, at least send someone with a strong financial background who can go ahead and chase the money, because we have a lot of issues in that budget. The audit that just came back for the city is from 2023. We are almost done with 2024. We don't know where the money is. We have to be able to know how to follow that money. You need to have someone on the commission who can follow that money. Once you start following that money, and by the way, very simply, you could go online, like I mentioned earlier, I'm an open book. I'm the only candidate up here that has hours, I kid you not, hours of interviews. In fact, another one is about to go up relatively soon. Full-length interviews where you could see my positions on every one of these issues. Everybody else, check mark. Oh, I'm for transparency. Oh, I'm for this, I'm for that. Yeah, you know what? I'm for clean water too. You know, we all are, but guess what? The most important thing is being able to get and say, hey, you know what? Do we have candidates that are offering something different? I'm offering something different. It's all online. You can see it all the way back down to June, because I announced middle of June to be able to go to the 4th of July event. My name is Paul Diaz. I'm running for City Commissioner, District 1. I look forward to earning your vote.
You guys have a hard time with the clapping. Secretary for District 1 is Commissioner Matt Benton. And Matt, would you come up, tell us a little about your life and your history?
My name is Matt Benton, and I'm an old school Floridian, born, raised, and educated in North Central Florida. I've seen many changes firsthand as Winter Springs and Florida's grown. My wife Sheila and I are Winter Springs homeowners for over 30 years with 2 grown children and regularly attend the church at 434. I'm a businessman. I started my own business right here in Winter Springs, and through prayer, blood, sweat, and tears, successfully built it to what it is today. My path in community involvement, began after many conversations and discussions with the late Commissioner Pam Carroll and other community leaders and neighbors, regularly attending and often speaking out at commission meetings on topics on and off the agendas. I also served 2 appointments to the Parks and Recreation Board, as well as being involved in other community activities. During my first term in office, my priority was to visit the wastewater treatment plants after learning of the severe neglect, discovering it to be worst conditions ever. This is 4 years ago. The conditions of the plants first came to light in 2009. A little before that. We're not kicking the can down the road. We are not kicking the can down the road. We are now moving forward. Our engineers have a plan. The city is moving this project to the next phase. My concern for our residents and local business has been my priority, especially after the Hurricane Ian. I was out driving the streets, checking the flooding issues, checking in on the elderly neighbors, while constantly in contact with the city manager, reporting what I was seeing and getting updates. In my life, and as your commissioner, I am a very proactive person. I encourage residents to participate in Winter Springs city government by attending or watching streaming video of commission meetings, addressing the commission at public input, and reaching out to commissioners over the phone or via email. That's who I am.
Matt, tell me now why you're running for another term as city commissioner.
That is a question. When all the politically charged attacks are directed at me as your commissioner, me personally, my family, and even against my business. One would wonder why I would put myself and my family through this again. The reason is the same for me now as it was 4 years ago. I love Winter Springs, and I want to participate in keeping Winter Springs the special community that attracted you folks to move here. They attracted me to move here. There are those that have a different view of our city and its residents. They strongly believe you could be hoodwinked. They strongly believe you could be hoodwinked. I said it twice for a reason. Into believing their misinformation filled with messages that everything is wrong with the city, that the city is financially broke, that nothing's being done about it. Those political players and their association have vetted after they found and financially invested in my opponent's campaign. He fits their mold. Timeshares, sell timeshares, part-time realtor, and self-proclaimed financial grand wizard. I'm sorry if this seems harsh. He can fix everything. He doesn't show you how he accomplished to fix these so-called problems. I don't claim to be anyone but a representative of the people of Winter Springs. I use common sense to ask competent professionals the right questions when I am not 100% sure of the answer. I do my research, then I tell the truth. My opponent looked at the city's most recent audit report and determined the city's broke. The Purvis Gray audit report that was presented on September 9th actually tells a different story. Over $16 million in unrestricted funds. Over $92 million in investments, solid investments like treasury notes. This audit has been submitted to Tallahassee. Winter Springs is far from being broke. That's why. Because I believe in this city and I love Winter Springs.
Hey, Matt, what changes would you like to make in the city of Winter Springs?
Winter Springs is on a great path forward, and there are action plans. After Hurricane Ian, I spearheaded and made the motion, which led to a temporary moratorium on development for the specific purpose of stormwater. This allowed our staff to bring forth a plan which the Commission unanimously approved, strengthening our stormwater policy to a level above all the other cities in our county. I've advocated for other cities in the county to do the same. I support working together with the other cities and counties to create a flood control district covering Seminole and Orange counties. The new development upstream from us has created stormwater problems for us. This needs to be addressed immediately, and it is the #1 concern of our residents. By visiting my website, there's a chart on all my votes while I was in office, since I was elected in 2020. I'll work together on the dais to make it more difficult to remove conservation easements in the care of the city. For example, the old Winter Springs Golf Course. Let's make it impossible to transport parkland and conservation easements to be used for commercial development. Currently, it only takes 3 votes to change the direction and use of those assets. I'm asking my fellow commissioners to support my request that an ordinance be changed that it requires a supermajority to take out green space for more apartments or development. This item is on our next commission agenda for Monday night. Then let's follow that up with a residents' vote on a charter amendment to make it permanent. Those are just a few of the changes I'd like to see for the betterment, because I love Winter Springs.
Thank you, Matt. There's some humbling and talking in the background, and I wish that would cease. We're going to respect each candidate, what they're saying, what their views are, and their perspectives. For District 3, we have 2 ladies running for our city commission. Sarah Baker and Karen Meyer. We're going to start with Sarah Baker. Sarah, give us a history, a little personal history of yourself, if you will.
Hi everyone, thank you for having me here. I want to ask you something. Who here loves Winter Springs? suburbs. I haven't lived in Florida very long, but where I grew up was a town called Westchester Township or Liberty Township, and very similar size, population, and growth as Winter Springs. And over the years, I saw it develop over my eyes, much like what we've seen in Winter Springs. So when we moved to Florida, the first time I lived in, it didn't really feel like home. It was very populated, very congested traffic. And then I found Winter Springs and fell in love with it.
Did somebody check that, please?
Okay.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Give her the extra that whatever time she needs. I'm sorry, Sarah.
That's okay. So in early 2021, we found our home here in Winter Springs, and we just fell in love with the community. There's trees, there's parks, there's hiking trails. There's so much that we could be found, and when we found our home, it's almost 3 acres in the middle of Winter Springs. Like, how amazing is that? I have 2 sons, I have 3 dogs. It was paradise for us. So I think it just became the perfect place for us to live. I run the marketing department for a large restaurant chain located all throughout the Midwest with over 300 locations. I have a set budget, and that budget doesn't change based on my needs. So whether or not sales are poor or good or whatever, I have a budget that I have to work within and make things happen. That's no different than running a city. It's all about budgeting, and that's something Paul talked about earlier. So while I might not have the same financial background, I do know how to run a budget. One of the most important ways I utilize the budget, though, is effective and clear communication to our restaurant franchisees, to the management, to team members, and to our customers. I plan to bring that same skill set to City Hall and let residents looking for transparent leadership look to me. I look forward to discussing why I'm running for Winter Springs Commission and what I can offer you.
Yeah, I do, yeah. All right, Sarah, tell us, you sort of started this already. Why are you running for City Commission?
Yeah, so I've always had a really strong passion for participating in my community. I started out in Girl Scouts. I volunteered at the polls for a Kids Vote project, getting people out. I did volunteering at animal shelters. I was on PTAs at my son's school. I did the yearbook, and I also was board of directors on 2 different large HOAs. Even when I was in Cincinnati, I was recognized as one of the finalists for Top 40 Under 40 because of my volunteer work and because of my actual career in leadership. I was really I always wanted to get involved in politics, but I never really knew how to get involved in politics. For me, there was an unexpected push. Like many people, ignorance is bliss. I didn't see a reason to really put my hat in the race for a long time. That was until Saturday morning. You can picture, my son is outside in the yard playing with our visiting in-laws, and he comes running in the house and he says, "Mom, the sewer's overflowing again." And I had over 12,000 gallons of raw sewage in my backyard. That was just one of the times. And it went directly into Howell Creek. And that just kind of made me look at things. And when I went out on Facebook and I started communicating to our neighbors, "Hey, don't let your kids and your pets play in the creek," they said, "What are we going to do about this? This isn't the first time." They started coming to me with questions, and tons of people started reaching out to me and talking to me about stormwater, wastewater, and drinking water, and all of these things. When I go door knocking, it's the only thing people talk about. So that was what grabbed it. I grabbed my phone, I called the city, everything's done, but what it really made me see was that I have a bigger passion for the city than I realized. I love it here, but going to commission meetings, getting to talk to residents all over town, I learned that my skills in effective communication, critical thinking, budget management, and all great assets to the city. That's why I chose to.
And the third comment or question here, what changes would you like to make for the city of Winter Springs?
All right, so there's a lot of changes I would love to make. Most of them start with the willingness to work together. When I go to the commission meetings, I see a lot of bickering. I see a lot of people taking sides. I see a lot of optics of who's going to vote for something and who's not, knowing that the vote will go through, even if they vote no. It just doesn't seem like there's continuity for the city to actually run as a city. We're all neighbors here. We should be looking out for one another and not have any sort of, I don't like you, so I'm not going to vote that way. Community engagement is something I really want to focus on. I want to encourage people to participate. I want to get them to the meetings, watch the meetings, and be able to open up our Facebook pages. I heard 2 years ago on the same podium that people wanted to open up our Facebook pages for actual comments. It still hasn't happened. So I also want to educate our community. I want every topic that we're discussing on the dais to be put out for you to understand and to actually have an opinion about it. What are the pros? What are the cons? What's it going to do for our future? What foresight do we need? What budgeting do we need to maintain this project? So I also want to advocate for grants and other sources of funding, ensuring our infrastructure can handle the capacity that our city has and any future needs that it has. Obviously, that's a big one for me in my backyard, right? And I want to establish a protocol for keeping our waterways clean. Because I live on Howell Creek and Bear Creek, they work in my backyard. I get a lot of flooding. Even though we have 3 acres, it doesn't affect my home, but people around us, they get flooding in their homes. So that's something I want to look into. Ensuring our playgrounds and parks and city planned events are accessible to people with disabilities. Empowering businesses in our community for success by revitalization projects. Open door relationship with neighboring cities, with the county, with the state, and strong ethics to just do what's right by you. Accountability within our commission and committees and boards.
Thank you very much. For District 3, the other candidate for City Commission is Karen Meyer. And Karen, come on up and tell us about yourself for 2 minutes. All about yourself. 2 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Karen Meyer, and I am campaigning for Winter Springs Commission Seat 3. I've been visiting Winter Springs for many years. I moved from Missouri to Tuscaloosa 6 years ago. I'm retired, I'm single, and I have the time to commit to the interest of Winter Springs. For 5 years, I have attended the Winter Springs Commission meetings from start to finish. That's about 300 hours of sitting in the very first row, listening and learning. I'm accustomed to volunteering. I taught outdoor skills for the Missouri Department of Conservation for 25 years. At the same time, I served my community as a certified police reserve officer for 10 years. I have volunteered for the American Red Cross Disaster Action Team. Now, here in Winter Springs, I regularly attend the Winter Springs Police Department Citizens Advisory Committee meetings. And last fall, I graduated from the City of Winter Springs Police Department Citizens Police Academy, which is a 10-week course. I'm knowledgeable about Winter Springs, and I'm available to serve as your commissioner.
All right, Karen, why are you running for City Commission?
As I said, I've spent hundreds of hours sitting and watching at the Winter Springs City Commission meetings, and I understand the issues. There's my top 4. Lack of a professional city manager. We have not had a city manager for over a year. That is a paramount problem. 2, development and traffic. The 2019 city survey said this, and I'm going to read it. Residents would like the future direction of the city to focus on small lot, single-family, detached homes, and increased green space. Number 3, sewer plants. Yes, they are old and they are in disrepair, and we need to move forward with getting the 2 new ones built. Number 4, flooding. Absolutely, it is a major concern. We need to continually inspect and clean out the creeks, the culverts, and the retention ponds so that the water flows freely through Winter Springs. I had a 27-year career with Texas Instruments, and I know the importance of good management. I'm knowledgeable about Winter Springs, and I'm available to be your commissioner.
And finally, Karen, what changes would you like to make for the city of Winter Springs?
The city of Winter Springs is confronted with major issues and serious issues. We need to attack the issues and not attack each other. My focus would be hiring and supporting the city manager. Not having a city manager leads to many of the management and personnel problems that we've experienced, such as the city audits and the late financial reports. Here again, this is critical to our city. Second, managing our growth in traffic. This means following the comprehensive land use plan and the zoning ordinances. Number 3, replacing our sewer plants, as I said. It is critical that we move forward with this. The engineering plans have just about been completed, and we need to get them built. And 4, flooding. Again, regularly dealing with the creeks, the retention ponds, and the culverts is how we can deal with the flooding issues. I'm prepared to work for the city of Winter Springs as your commissioner.
Thank you, Karen. Now for District 5, there are 3 people who would like to be the city commissioner. We'll start with the current city commissioner for that area, Rob Elliott. And Rob, tell us about yourself.
Good evening. My name is Rob Elliott, and I am the current District 5 City Commissioner here in Winter Springs. I'm extremely proud, honored, and humbled to represent the citizens of Winter Springs. I'm a native Floridian, born in St. Petersburg and raised in St. Pete Beach. I attended Bishop Barry Catholic High School, and I graduated from the University of Florida. My wife Sarah and I have been married 40 years, and she is my best friend as well as my best critic. We relocated to Winter Springs in 1997 due to a company-sponsored move. We have 4 grown children and 9 grandchildren. I'm currently employed by a major insurance company where I manage a group of investigators whose primary function is the investigation of potential insurance fraud. Prior to my current career, I was a felony correctional probation officer in Pinellas County. I've been active in our community in many capacities. While my children were growing up, I was a youth soccer coach for many years. I've been an ordained deacon at Willow Creek Church for the past 24 years. I've been fortunate enough to have been able to experience numerous mission trips in Uganda, serving a mission called Saving Grace in Uganda, where we rescue street kids and are able to house, clothe, feed, and educate them as well as provide medical care. I was able to return here this past June after a long delay caused by COVID. I also served as a mentor in our public school system. During my 4 years as a commissioner, the most rewarding aspect has been my sincere pleasure to meet with many residents of our community. Almost every time I receive a phone call, an email, or a text, one of the first things I say is, when can we sit down and talk? I look forward to serving the residents of Winter Springs.
And Rob, why are you running again? You city commissioner.
I'm running for re-election to the Winter Springs City Commission to continue to serve the residents of our community. This service includes many complicated and massive infrastructure projects, which initiated during my first term. I find it interesting water is considered the basis of all living things. Having said this, it is why I spend so much time working on issues surrounding wastewater, potable water, stormwater, reclaimed water, as well as the condition of many of our lakes and ponds. Our potable water issue has been solved, and the latest annual drinking water quality report shows all contaminants are below state guidelines, including trihalomethanes. We have laid new infrastructure to provide reclaimed water to residents to mitigate the use of potable water for irrigation. Plans are underway to replace our aging wastewater treatment plants. Financing is being reviewed and engineering studies are currently underway. Hopefully we will break ground in the next couple of years. Hurricane Ian was a wake-up call for all of us concerning stormwater, and the city is currently evaluating what needs to be done to prevent further flooding. Our lakes and ponds are being evaluated, and we have a new contractor to assist in the treatment of the overgrowth of aquatic vegetation. First day I took office, I asked the city manager about the deceleration lane eastbound on 434 going into Winding Hollow. This has been a long and arduous process, and I'm pleased to say the project is almost ready to break ground. I suggested the city look into building pickleball courts at Central Winds Park. The idea blossomed, and the city of Winter Springs now has a premier pickleball venue in Central Florida. My desire to remain a commissioner is to see all current projects underway are successfully completed and to maintain the quality of life our residents expect.
And finally, Rob, what changes would you like to make for the city of Winter Springs?
As I mentioned before, it has been an honor to serve the residents of Winter Springs as a commissioner over these last 4 years. The city has gone through many challenges over these years. Winter Springs was devastated by Hurricane Ian as well as other storms. The city has been subject to 2 external audits, one by the county and one by the state. I firmly believe both of these audits were politically motivated. The audits proved there were no substantial financial issues surrounding our city. There were suggestions to improve various processes. However, nothing was found that rose to the level of the accusations being made against our city. The city recently completed its own required state audit, which again found no issues surrounding the handling of our finances. In fact, the city is in excellent financial condition. As I mentioned previously, there are numerous challenges facing our city, especially in the area of infrastructure. These challenges will involve difficult decisions to be made concerning financing, awarding contracts, permitting, purchasing, potential utility rate increases, and many other complicated and important issues. I believe I have the knowledge, expertise, discernment, maturity, and independent thinking to consider all aspects surrounding these issues in order to make informed decisions which will best serve our residents. Winter Springs continues to be one of the safest communities in Florida, and I've always been a strong and vocal supporter of the Winter Springs Police Department. I will continue to make sure Chief Trapp and his staff have all the training, tools, equipment, and support they need to provide the excellent service our community has become accustomed to. I've been disappointed in the way the process surrounding the hiring of a city manager has played out, but it now appears we have an excellent candidate identified. In fact, this morning, I met with this candidate for a one-on-one discussion in order to gain more insight into his vision for Winter Springs. If I am blessed with the opportunity to serve the residents of Winter Springs as City Commissioner in District 5, I promise I will continue to work tirelessly to serve all the residents and make decisions I believe will best serve our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Mark Caruso, please come and tell us a little about your life. Introduce yourself, please.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, my name is Mark Caruso. I'm running for District 5 Commissioner in Winter Springs. So I am happily married. My wife right here, my beautiful wife. We've been together 35 years. We have 2 children. We moved here 18 years ago. Why? Because we love the city. We have the best schools, the best police, and we're safe. So my career is in law enforcement. I spent almost 15 years in law enforcement, almost 5 years with the NYPD, and then 10 years in the state prison here in Florida as a sergeant. And I can tell you, I love my career. I love our police. I support them, everything they do. So, also, I am a small business owner. When I retired, I said to my wife, I said, I have to do something. I can't just sit around, I'm too young. So I started my own landscaping business. And I have to tell you, it's very successful. Some of you in this room know me. I'm your boss. I love what I do. And when I actually started this business, I knew in the beginning it was going to be tough. So what I decided to do was use my resources and all my equipment, my family, and we would do volunteer work for elderly, people in need, just basically anyone that really could not do for themselves. You know, I enjoyed that. I got out there, me and my son, and I'd say to him, all right, we're not getting paid. We're gonna go do this for some people. And he was like, okay, let's go, let's do it. So he was on board with me because I taught him growing up that it's very important to give and to receive. And that is what I bring to District 5, to the city of Winter Springs. I give. That's all I do. Most of you know me in here. You've seen me all the time. You deal with me all the time. You know my reputation. And I'm proud of that reputation, and I want to keep it going just like that for you. Good time.
Mark, why are you running for city commission?
So, I have a bullet points and speech here. I can't do that. I like to speak from the heart because it means more. Because there's people in this room that I've visited with around the city who live by the creeks, who live where storm drains are problematic, and I know who you are. And that right there is the biggest reason that I'm running, because those people need help. It should not take years and years and years to get our wastewater fixed, our stormwater, our storm drains, cleaned out. I've seen these same issues through the years before I even considered running. And my wife grabbed me a couple of months ago, and she's like, you have to do this. And I'm like, I have to do what? She's like, you have to run. I says, oh no, I can't. I says, okay, if you think I can do it, I can do it. Okay, I have full faith in her, she has full faith in me, and there's people in this community that have faith in me. And I keep, to this day, even today, I go around the city, I meet with people, and they pour their hearts out to me, and the first thing they say is, my house is gone. I have to live in a camper outside my house. That's despicable. There's people around the city living in campers in Winter Springs. You might not know this, but it's true. They're out there. So that is our only focus, infrastructure. I don't want to hear about anything but getting these issues fixed through the infrastructure. It's the most important thing. And when we get a new city manager, whoever that may be, I hope he's understanding on what these issues are, and he focuses on what the residents need. They don't want to float it out any longer. Thank you.
Mark, you started answering this question, but you can finish it. What changes would you like to make for the city of Winter Springs?
Okay, so with the infrastructure, that we have other agencies out there where we can get funding sources from to help us offset the cost for you, the residents, the taxpayers. There are plenty of agencies out there ready and willing to help us. We just have to ask for it, we have to go out there and we have to get it. That's number one. And let me talk about police for a second, because I love the police. So we're having trouble right now. Our pay scale is below the county average, and there are other cities that do better than we do. Okay, I talked to our police. I know what they want. They want to get paid, right? That's what it's about. In order for us to keep a safe city, we have to keep good officers. And the way to do that is we have to be competitive with our salary, and our pension, very important for that, needs to be looked at. Because the more money we spend training new officers, for them to come in and then just leave after their training and go to another agency. I've seen it. When I was at the prison, they come in brand new, we train them. Oh, this department's paying more. I'm leaving. We got to stop that. We have to keep them here. We need more incentives. Those two things are the biggest things with our police that we need to keep them here. Okay? Also, we have great equipment. We have excellent police cars. That's not an issue. Focus on the salary. We can be competitive with that. There are surrounding cities that pay more. I get it. We need to be up to par with them. That's the second thing, most importantly, next to our infrastructure for me. So let's get our infrastructure going. Let's get it fixed. No more talking. Let's get the grants. They're out there. Thank you.
And last but not least, Brandon Morrissey, tell us about yourself. Would you like this? Or...
Good evening, everybody. I'm Brandon Morrissey. I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight and thank the Tuscaloosa HOA for putting on this fantastic event. I'm a certified firefighter EMT. I'm also currently working firefighter EMT, so I'm a first responder. Ran for mayor 2 years ago on the same platform, unfortunately, that I'm running on today. Not much has changed in the past few years, and I look to make a difference in that. I started off my life here in Winter Springs. I was born over at Lake Monroe. My parents took me home, my home in Oak Forest. Went to all the schools, Keith through Winter Springs High School, so I'm 100% Winter Springs native, 100% Florida native, so I know our city better than most people that stand up here today. While they may have lived here, they don't have that same sentiment towards our city that I do. As a firefighter EMT, my job requires me to be able to think on my feet. I mean, it's anybody's worst given day, they call 911. I have to show up and figure that out. If I'm trained on it or if I'm not trained on it, I have to figure that out. I am the last line of defense for anybody who calls 911. And I feel like that is a skill that is crucial to leading our city government. Because regardless of what issues that we face, I have to figure it out. Thank you.
Brandon, why are you running for city commission?
I'm running for city commission because things are not okay in our city. Our city is being mismanaged to the point that I may be the youngest candidate up here at 26 years old. I see the issue. Everybody up here sees the issue who's not an incumbent, and it needs to change. During Hurricane Ian, I went over to Hacienda Village right after the storm, and I helped numerous families, numerous elderly couples retrieve their belongings from their flooded out trailers. That is something I never want to see in our city again. Our wastewater is failing, our storm infrastructure is failing, and we're spending money on frivolous projects like pickleball. This is unacceptable to me, and it should be unacceptable to everybody in this room.
And Mark, I'm sorry, Brandon,
That goes up.
you gotta give me a little room on that area for last week, so. What changes would you like to make in the city of Winter Springs?
Changes I'd like to make in our city start with our infrastructure and our safety. I've already started pioneering on this path. I got all of our fire hydrants certified. I was actually removed from my board on the Oak Forest Wall and Beautification Special Advisory Committee for calling out a precautionary boil water notice. They said, well, the incumbent to my left said it was like screaming fire in a movie theater. I know a little bit something about fires, nothing close to it. Water was brown. My neighbors sent me photos of their water brown coming out of their pipes. I still have samples to this day of that water that I have had tested. And that led to a bigger issue. Why was the water brown? Well, it came out that our fire hydrants were failing. We had 27 exactly that failed. They were certified, they were tested, we're all up to par now. And I want to make sure that things like that don't happen because those are supposed to be certified every year. We went 5 years without certifying those, and that's what we got. We also had a structure fire in Winter Springs where Seminole County could not secure a water source to put out the fire. We did not have that happen. Safety and infrastructure go hand in hand, and those are my two main focus points for this campaign. I don't want to focus on extracurricular projects. I'm not going to waste our taxpayer dollars because we're already in the hole for these wastewater treatment plants, and there is no financial solution that has been brought up on the dais yet. So that means our taxes are going to go up, and I want to make sure that we can mitigate that and have an action plan so that it doesn't hurt our residents in the long term. Thank you.
You're doing real well. We're going to go in reverse order now and give each candidate 3 minutes as a rebuttal, and then we'll call it for the evening, except you can meet with the candidates after. So reverse order is meeting at the very beginning. All right. So, Ned, you're up first.
Sorry if some of my words seem harsh tonight. Your city and myself have been abused because of birds of a feather that flock together. I'm supported by the residents and small business owners of Winter Springs. These are the folks who are reaching out, standing up and supporting my campaign again. That's the flock I fly with. They're birds I won't fly with. Those who prey on those they can intimidate or fool. Supported by various kind of realtors, developers, and former politicians who are bought and paid for by the developers who have a financial gain by promoting certain kinds of development. One of my opponent supporters who founded the association, who is a former appointed commissioner, started after sworn in. He stated, "I'm a developer," who was never elected because of his comment that evening. Winter Springs residents are smart to those tricks. The co-founder of this same association that supports my opponent has repeatedly sent out thousands of emails and mailers trying to sell you on breaking the rural boundary. So more high-density housing to be built on sensitive lands. These emails also included lots of misinformation about Winter Springs that has been thoroughly fact-checked. These birds have attacked our city for the last 6 years at the following cost. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in time spent by city staff and research. Personnel who were bullied into leaving. And actual taxpayer dollars spent. Over $100,000 to find a city manager. Hundreds of thousands on 2 bogus audits. My opponent spouts their misinformation, describing our most recent audits as fleecing the residents of Winter Springs. That and the city is in such bad shape that he's got to be the one to fix it. And as I mentioned earlier, I trust the auditors at Purvis Gray, with their years of experience in advanced accounting degrees, our recent upgraded AAA bond rating, and our city's finance director, much more than a tax preparer with no experience in government accounting. My decision to run became more urgent after receiving a phone call from my opponent's former co-worker in South Florida. The first words spoken to me were, "Do commissioners handle money for the city?" Which was followed by a very potent request. Please do a background check on your opponent. What I found gave me a lot of concern about his financial past and present, a long string of foreclosures and financial issues, as well as other legal types from Miami to Seminole County. I understand that those kind of things can happen. Thank you very much. You go to my website to find more information. Thank you.
Paul Diaz.
Well, that is definitely a tough act to follow. Look, I've had a very positive message this entire campaign. It's difficult to sometimes stay positive when you're getting, you're taking the slings every day. And I get it. That's what happens when you are trying to stay in power. That's just the reality. We see it in Washington, we see it in Tallahassee, and we're seeing it here in Winter Springs. I have a positive message. My message has been public since the day I started. PaulDiaz.com, electpauldiaz.com, you can see the message. On my YouTube page, on my Facebook page, you'll see that positive message. The city right now, as you hear from all the candidates, friend and foe, incumbent and not, the city's in chaos. If you go on my website, the front page says, "Bring order to chaos." The reality is, folks, serious problems require serious people to take care of them. I not only have the ability, I have the competence to solve the problems. Do I have all the answers? Absolutely not. You know what Kim Blanchard says? None of us is as smart as all of us. I take advice from everyone in the community. Because just like the band Rush, you guys remember the band Rush, the song Tom Sawyer? My mind is not for rent to any god or government. I am the only completely independent candidate in this race, which is why, since 72 hours after I announced to run for the city commission, they immediately started attacking me, my family, my wife, who has done nothing but serve the residents of Seminole County for decades. My clients trust me with their finances. Sheriff Dennis Lima trusted me with his campaign finances. I'm asking each and every one of you to trust me. I may not be the best candidate. I may not be. But I can tell you, I'm definitely better than the alternative. PaulDiaz.com.
Karen Meyer. Looking wrong.
The only way to solve our serious issues is to stop attacking each other. The mayor, the city commission, the new city manager and his staff, they need to be supported. Our city reputation is being tarnished. The divisiveness must stop. We have a commission, city manager form of government. We need a professional city manager to oversee the day-to-day operation. Think of Winter Springs as a corporation with a CEO. We need a CEO. Growth in traffic. The city has a comprehensive land use plan and zoning ordinances. We need to follow those, as I said before. And we need to be careful about rezoning and special exceptions. The sewer plants, yes, they should have been replaced years ago. They weren't. Engineering designs are almost finished. We're going to move forward with them. The sewer lift stations. In some locations, they need to be equipped with backup pumps so that when you have a power outage, they don't fail. As citizens of Winter Springs, when you flush your toilet, you expect it to work. Flooding. And yes, I do keep repeating these serious issues. During the last hurricane, we had massive flooding. Since most of the water originates outside of Winter Springs, solutions should involve the surrounding cities. Some type of flood district just might be a step in the right direction. My promise to you is to work on your behalf and to keep the city of Winter Springs successful. Thank you for coming out tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Karen. Sarah, good?
There were some statements made earlier about who supports us as candidates. And when somebody comes to me and says, I like your ideas, I like you, I want to support you, the first thing I say to them is, I hope you understand I'm my own person. I'm an independent thinker. I'm not going to do your bidding. I hope you don't expect that. And so I'm just putting that out there, just right off the bat, that that has been the same answer I've given every single person that's written me a check or put a sign in their yard. I'm not going to change who I am for this position. I will continue to fight for the city. I will continue to fight for you. And we will overcome this together. I strongly believe that. I think that these problems are solvable. I think working together is a way that we're going to solve these problems. And no matter who up here gets elected, I'm willing to work with them, and I hope the same goes for them. Thank you, Tuscarora Homeowners Association, for coordinating this event. I am very grateful all of you were able to make it out tonight, and I would love to speak to you afterward. But if we don't get a chance to speak, you can get information on me at sarahforwintersprings.com. If you'd like to reach out to me with questions, or if you want to meet up, if you have something that is happening in your yard or on your street, I would love to see it. So call me. We'll talk about it. And I look forward to serving you.
Mark Caruso.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I think everyone here agrees we have problems. Everyone is saying it. It's no secret anymore. There was a time when everything was, we're doing great, everything's great. We know that now, okay? I'm sure the current commissioners that are running for re-election did the very best they could. I don't want to take that away from them because I don't know anything about it. But what I can say is we need fresh blood in City Hall. We need change. Change is here. It's up to you to to decide if we need that change. We've kicked the can down the road long enough. I don't know how many years it's been, but it's been way longer than I've been involved, and that was the last election. We need to get rid of all of the negativity in the city. I don't personally like attacking anybody. I don't believe in it. You, as the residents, you want to hear positive. You want to hear from us something positive that we have to offer. Okay, and that's what some of us are trying to do. Yes, it's not easy. There's a lot of people out there talking bad about us. It happens. Politics is dirty. That's how it is. I refuse to be that. No matter what. I've been attacked myself. A lot of you know, you've seen it. It doesn't bother me. I brush it off because I have thick skin. You have to. My career, if you didn't have thick skin, you know where you wind up. Okay, you'd be in trouble. And I've had very thick skin through the years because of my training, my background. Right now, I'm older, becoming more mellow. All that craziness is gone a long time ago, and now I have my kids to look after, and that is why I'm here for them. Everything I'm doing with my business now, I'm doing it for my kids. I want to be able to give it to them in a couple of years when I'm ready to walk away from it and say, here you go. I want to leave them with something positive. Not just that, but in a city where they can live and be happy and not have to worry about the problems that we are still dealing with. We can't let it go on any longer. Our kids depend on us and our grandkids for a lot of it. I'm not there yet, and I know my kids are going to stay living here in Winter Springs, and I hope my grandkids do too. So with that being said, my time is almost up. I want to thank you all for being here. I like being out here with you and being right up with you. That's why I do this. I take it from the heart. And thank you all. Good night.
Brandon Morrison.
I want to start by saying thank you to everybody who came out this evening. I want to take a moment. And last year at this forum, we had a different moderator. His name was Arnie Messbaum. I'm going to take a moment of silence for Arnie because he did pass from past election to now. I come up here before you today not as a political candidate, but as a resident of Winter Springs. Winter Springs has been my home since I was a child. It will continue to be my home into the future, and I'm going to raise my children in Winter Springs. I'm young enough, I have the vitality to get the city back into shape the way I want it to be, the way everybody wants it to be, safe, secure, proper infrastructure, through and through. It's hard to look past some of the political mudslinging that happens on social media. And I want to take a moment to address that as well. The candidate prior to me speaking, Mark Caruso, he tells you that he retired as a law enforcement officer, but unfortunately he was fired. He made his living being a whistleblower and suing NYPD and the state of Florida. That's not the type of man that I want running my city, somebody who's a certified whistleblower and is willing to do whatever it takes to win. He also has billboards in his front yard that Winter Springs PD has asked him to remove for the last month. He laughs in their face and leaves them up. There's no code enforcement meeting this month, so why take them down? Do you really want a man like that running this city? We have another man to my left who mismanages our city's finances, decides to spend frivolous amounts of money, $7.5 million on pickleball, rather than tackle the major issues that we're all up here saying today. So they're real issues. We have stormwater issues and we have wastewater issues. We have creeks that have not been cleaned out, and yet we're building pickleball facilities that have yet to net us a true, genuine profit. So before I leave this stand today, I want to thank everybody for coming out and hearing me today, and I hope you all have a great night.
no clapping, please. We have one more person to come up, Rob Elliott. After that, we're going to like our hearts out.
Guess that means all the clapping will have to be for me. Being the last one up here, I'm sure I'm standing between some folks and Kelly's ice cream, so I'll get through this as quickly as I can. Again, thank you for coming out. Thank you for listening to all of us. Thank you for the many positive comments that I heard up here. I, too, do not like to go negative. If I were to become your commissioner again here in Winter Springs, one of the first things I would do was try to foster a closer and more cooperative relationship with the county as well as the other sister cities. Concerns around issues such as stormwater need to be solved through a cooperative effort of the county as well as the other 6 cities. And this can only be done by fostering better cooperation. It's a Central Florida issue. It's not just Winter Springs. I would like to see an increase in small businesses and restaurants throughout our community. Development is inevitable. However, I would rather see single-family homes and townhomes which foster residents to have a stake in our community. I'm not a fan of high-density development, car washes, storage facilities, and gas stations inundating our community. Someone wants to put a humongous storage facility right in the middle of our city, which would probably be the biggest building in our city. I see Winter Springs as one of the last bedroom communities in Seminole County and would like for it to remain that way. That's why I live here. I would like the city to work on finding a way to attract a hotel to our community. As events such as the Highland Games and upcoming pickleball tournaments attract visitors who currently stay in surrounding communities. I would like to see drastic changes to all aspects of the permitting process. I've heard complaints from numerous residents about the inefficiency of this process, and with the advent of AI, I believe the permitting process can be made more efficient and customer-focused. Winter Springs is a wonderful place to live and raise a family, and I believe changes such as these will only enhance our beautiful city. Thank you again for coming out this evening, and have a great night.
If you have a website, the tape of this presentation this evening will be on our website. I want to thank you for coming. I know you've been sitting a long time. You didn't take a break tonight. You ran right through it. A lot to think about. And good night. Pay your dues.
Yeah, I want to make sure you